Did you know that all over the whole world, America is about the only place where people drink milk? Like, really, in the old days, you might drink the milk right after you milk the cow, but milk spoils really fast. So before we had refrigeration, most milk products that were consumed in a fermented state, okay? And that's because it spoiled so fast. The great thing about milk is it naturally has what it needs to ferment. This milk, this is raw milk from the Jersey barnyard here in LaGrange. We're so lucky that we have a raw dairy farm. In fact, there's another one in Schulenburg called Strick's Farm. We are so lucky because this is full, and in this form right here, straight out of the cow, full of good bacteria for your gut, okay? When, again, the Industrial Revolution, let's pasteurize everything. We're killing the bad bacteria. We're also killing the good bacteria. And if we would ferment this, all the good bacteria that was already here would kill all the bad bacteria that may be here, okay? Same thing with homogenization. This milk is pasteurized and homogenized. Homogenization is where they take the fat particles, the cream that's going to collect up here at the top. They take that cream and they shoot it through a small filter to make the particles micro-sized so that they mix throughout the rest of the milk. The problem with that is in our bloodstream, our blood doesn't know how to handle that. And so it's not healthy for us. That's not the way it was intended for us to consume it. So we use raw milk at home because we don't want pasteurized or homogenized. Okay? Yogurt is the easiest thing in the world. If you have an Instant Pot at home, you pour milk in it and you push the yogurt button and you're done. You're done. That's it.
What kind of pot did you say?
An Instant Pot. It's some kind of newfangled, I don't have one so I don't know, but I've been told that Instant Pots have a button on there for doing that. We've been making yogurt this way for years. Okay? You take a half a gallon of milk, you pour it in your crock pot, and you turn it on to low, 2.5 hours. Okay? What you're looking for is a temperature of about 180 degrees. And some people will say, oh, that's pasteurizing your milk. It's going to kill some of the bacteria. What it has to do by getting to 180 degrees is break down the proteins in the milk so that it will take the starter and it will become yogurt. That's why we have to heat it up slowly to that point. So you put it in there 2.5 hours, then you turn it off 2.5 hours. It's going to cool back down to 120 degrees. And then you're going to take your starter. If you have never made yogurt before, you're going to take a little yogurt thing from the store. I don't get like the super fruity flavored granola in the bottom. Get a plain yogurt. Get a Greek yogurt if you can, because there's going to be more yogurt and less whey in that. And pour it in there and whisk it up. Wrap the whole thing in a towel. Let it sit on your counter for about 8 hours. And you've just made yogurt. It's that easy. After the first batch, I keep back a half a cup when I'm making mine, and it will go and go and go. So if you're not got a big family, and you don't need a half a gallon of yogurt 3 times a week, you can make smaller batches. So I made these last night. I got a couple of these mason jars. This is raw milk from the dairy. Okay, I put them in just put them in a water bath on your stove. Put a washcloth or something on the bottom so you don't break your jars directly on the heat. Okay, fill it up so that the water is about halfway up the jars. You want to heat it up to about, on a low simmer to about the 180 degrees, and I use my candy thermometer, 99-cent HEB, right here if you don't have one. Then I took it out of the water bath, set it on my counter until it cooled down to 120 degrees. And then I mixed in about a tablespoon of my yogurt starter into each one. I did add a little bit of gelatin to these because I'll explain in just a minute why. I'll put it in this crock pot it's off. It's just, the only reason we're putting it in the crock pot is so that when it's inoculating for 8 hours, it has a warm environment. You could put it in a cooler, you could put it in your microwave, you could put it in your oven with the light on. You want some sort of warmish environment. And I put my 3 mason jars in here and just wrap the crock pot up and let it sit for 8 hours. When you're done, you can take the yogurt that you made. If you want Greek yogurt, you want to pour it through a strainer that's lined with coffee filters or cheesecloth. And then all the liquid whey will come out, and then you'll end up with a much thicker yogurt. So I don't wanna do that, cause I don't have time. So, the yogurt that you would normally make is very thin. So I just put a little bit of gelatin, beef gelatin in with mine when I make it, and then I don't have to strain it, because it's thick like I like it, but I skip the part where I have to strain it. So, and that's it.
Gelatin, what's the, you said beef?
I use beef gelatin. When you buy Knox gelatin at the store, the little packets,
Yeah.
that comes from pork. And we just typically try to avoid pork in our house. And I can buy the beef gelatin from Azure Standard. I can buy like a pound for $5. It's some super cheap price. And so the gelatin is the part of the bone. It's part of the beef, the bones of the animal. It's great for us and good for your bones, good for your skin. And so we just put a little bit of that so it's thick like we like it, and you can see. So you can see, actually there's like the cream all rose to the top. And so when I'm ready to serve this to my children, you guys can pass it around if you want. When I'm ready to serve this to my children, I will put a little stevia in there. We avoid refined white sugar in our house. And I'll whisk it up, and you can see how thick it is. And so I don't have to, what's that?
Flip it upside down.
No, this is not Dairy Queen. Thank you. So did y'all get to see it?
And is that flavorless?
This
The
is
beef?
flavorless.
Yeah.
Yeah, oh, the
The-
beef gelatin, absolutely flavorless,
Yeah.
yes. You can use the Knox stuff at home if you don't have access to like a beef gelatin.